The Edgeless Horseman here. It's April 7, 2022. I would just like to talk a bit about how obscene an opportunity I see in the junior sector right now. I mean, as you probably know, I've been screaming. Well, I mean, I'm buying all the time because I'm a stock picker. I'm not buying GDX. I'm not buying majors. I'm not buying the likes of Bear Creek Mining, but Bear Creek Mining here is a proxy for high beta microcap juniors pretty much, because you can see that a lot of the early stage juniors are at 52-week lows basically. I mean, some have moved up already, the ones that are considered to be less risky, etc. The more popular names, but when you look around at the microcaps, for example, which are typically, the penny dreadfuls as they're also called, they're at 52-week lows. So I think Bear Creek Mining in this case is a good proxy for the very end of the risk curve, let's say. Microcappers, very high beta, optionality plays. And here you obviously have Newmont Mining up to a new record high. And here you have gold not far away from a record high. I mean, this is... I don't expect to ever see something like this again. I mean, like I've said many times before, I got into the sector around here because I thought the juniors were incredibly cheap, and I was bullish on gold and silver. And at that point in time, again, like I've said before, almost no project was worth anything because many miners were losing money, had huge amounts of debts. Gold price was around 1100, silver price was around $14-15. So even if you found something, let's say, unless it was like a tier one deposit, it was probably not going to make money in that scenario. So at face value, at the current gold price, in a snapshot, on a snapshot basis, almost every project was worthless. No hopes of getting it financed. No hopes of, why even bother putting it in production, basically, because it would be a money-losing operation. So at that point in time, I bought because the juniors were cheap in more absolute terms, because relative to the gold business and the price of gold, etc., they were actually worthless. But the bet obviously was that this sector can't be losing money forever, and I believe in higher gold prices, etc. So basically I was paying up for a change in the future of the sector. But that's obviously speculative, because even though things always change, so in one sense it's not speculative. But on the other hand, at that point in time, you were basically buying something for a very small price, but at face value was worthless. But the bet was that it will not stay worthless. But that was kind of hard, actually, because there was no margin of safety really. Some companies were near bankrupt, hard to raise money. Some went under. But today, this is the most obscene thing. I don't think I'll ever see an opportunity, especially in junior sector like this. This is absolutely mind-numbing. I get, my greed level is at 11 out of 10 pretty much. This, I never expect. I thought this was the best buying opportunity I would ever see, or maybe actually, the flash crash was an even better buying opportunity, because gold price was up here, and juniors some crashed all the way close to levels when gold and the mining business was worth a lot less. But this is just incredible. You cannot ask for a better risk reward setup. Uh, it's so good that it's like you're bound to get a bit paranoid. But like, just think of the implications here. It's like the gold mining business, in this case represented by Newmont, at all-time highs. Cash flow and margins in the business is close to multi-decades highs. So okay, never before, let's say, has the average ounce in the ground or average ounce pulled out of the ground had higher economic value. So the gold business has never been, pretty much as valuable, or at least in the last decades or so. Which obviously is a lot helped by the fact that gold is close to all-time highs. The juniors, which are in the same business as the majors, it's just that they're drilling for future supply. They're pretty much as cheap as they've ever been. So they don't reflect any of this. Hence the, absurd gap. They do get, stretched. Here you have Bear Creek Mining up there, and here you have Bear Creek Mining underperforming. But, again, this is like what? Yeah, 3 to 4 times as wide. This is obviously not, 100% scientific, and you can't just draw a line and on a chart, etc. But it's like, the point stands. This is the most absurd layup I expect to see, perhaps for the rest of my life. The mean reversion, let alone, people hoping that, okay, I'm buying juniors because I hope gold to go to $3, $4, $5, $10,000. That's almost a moot point. In a sense, because just a mean reversion to where gold is right now and what the value of the business is right now, not at gold 3,000, not at gold 5,000 or 10,000, just where gold is right now and what the value right now is for the gold business. These juniors should be up, hundreds of percent. So imagine if that's like your base case. Just to get back to, closer to fair value, you might have some juniors up, let's say 200% on average, just to where things stand right now. Let alone what's going to happen in the future with gold, etc. And such an incredible margin of safety. Down here there was no margin of safety. No margin of safety. Now you have let's say 200% margin of safety. And then the upside potential. It's totally ridiculous. This is, Jesus, it's like I've been breathing heavy all day almost. This you can't. If you understand this chart, what this means, if you see these kinds of dislocations, if you understand risk reward, and if you understand, have a basic sense of logic, you cannot see this chart, understand this chart, and at the same time claim that the market is hard to beat, or like you can figure out how to beat the market. You will never see something as retarded as this, perhaps, for at least the next couple of decades. This is the... Yeah, I cannot believe my eyes. Just the mean reversion itself is like, multi-baggers in many juniors. And if we, gold, this is before gold really breaks out of the cup and handle, which it appears to be forming. So it's like, okay, take 200% to fair value on average, and then slap on, I don't know, $1,000 more in gold to 3,000. So you take the 200% and then multiply that with like 3 or whatever. I personally, it's like right now, I expect, this is the coming rally in juniors is gonna be one for the ages. I think it will blow away my previous upturns. I mean, for this to play out, I expect gold to be in a bull market for the next like four years. So if I did nothing except hold my portfolio right now for 4 years, didn't trade a single share, no selling, no buying, I expect to have a 10-bagger on my entire portfolio in the next 4 years. And this is legal stealing, basically. You're stealing future supply. And on that note, it's like this headline here: commodity trader Trafigura set to take large amount of zinc from LME registered warehouse sources. London Metal Exchange says aware of tightness in zinc market, monitoring all metals to ensure orderly market. You saw what happened to nickel. Paper market broke down pretty much, or futures market. Nickel prices went up 300%. Now it appears that zinc is having a similar problem, or there's at least problems. So it's like you're seeing these shortages right now. Current shortage, current supply issues. The juniors are the future supply issues. The juniors are the future supply. It makes absolutely no sense, and you can't justify it because, the go-to thing is that people think that the market makes sense all the time. So you're making excuses for why the juniors are down, and it's like, yeah, well, they're never gonna change or whatever. It's just, it's gonna be keeping, poor action, whatever. So what? This is gonna change. This is gonna change. This will be a mean reversion for the ages. And even if, heck, let's say gold goes down here and Newmont goes down here, junior should still go up here. So even if you're not bullish on gold or miners in the major miners in the short term, let's say, these juniors have no business being down here. They're pricing in a gold price of, let's say, adjusting for inflation, etc. Let's say $1,400 gold, if even that. Some, I don't think, are even reflecting that. So that's how absurd the risk reward is. So I think from a value perspective, I have like $400 of margin of safety for gold to drop before I'm overpaying for what I'm buying today. And I don't see gold dropping for 100%, $400. And again, you have stuff like this coming out. It's mind blowing. I don't. This is absurdest thing I've ever seen, and obviously, speaking of mean reversions. Let's say, I've been participating in a couple of private placements lately. Most, if not all of them, give me warrants as well. So if there was ever a time to be in private placements and get warrants, because let's say you participate in a private placement, let's say the warrants kick in here. Let's say you have full warrants and the juniors are gonna go, let's say, up here. When we pass this point on the way to the full on, mean reversion and then pass to the next sentiment high. My portfolio is gonna get such an incredible boost. So let's say my stocks go up 200%. Then you add all the warrants, etc. That might be increased to 350%. I expect some juniors to provide absolutely ridiculous returns. So this is really how. If there was ever a time to join in private placements, that would be now, because not only are they the juniors, especially the more micro cap juniors, the farthest end of the risk curve. Not only are they near multi-year levels in terms of absolute low valuations, but you have this kind of gap as well. So it's like this is gonna. I mean, they're gonna go up. It's not like you're buying juniors up here and hope that they will get more expensive or whatever. No, they are nosebleed cheap right now. And if you get warrants as well, I mean, yeah, you can really, really, really uh, have a biblical experience, I think. Again, if the risk reward has never been better, and obviously warrants are free upside with no added downside. So if you have the best possible scenario for probable future outsized returns, and you know join private placement with warrants, etc. I'm just letting you know how I think right now. I mean, I never expected to see something like this. I thought the best days were here. This blows away this opportunity by factor of 5 perhaps when you adjust for the margin of safety and risk reward. This is incredible. This is again, you have no. I mean, yeah, pretty sure I'm gonna absolutely slaughter the index, especially the average stock index, etc. This is going to be this mean reversion is going to be one for the ages, I think, and that's before we even break out, with gold. And I don't know. I mean, it could happen tomorrow. It might take a few months. Might actually even take up to a year. But if I look at some other ratios, it says ratios, etc. We're at extremes. We're at extremes already. Extremes can become even more extreme, obviously, but this is a matter of time, not a matter of if. So if you have a bet like that, when it's a question of when, not if, and in this case, upside is a matter of when, not if. Obviously, you can't ask for more than that. I mean, if some of these juniors would fall by 50%, they're not going to stay there. The revaluation is just going to be even more absurd later. So basically, you're at the point which I've written about before. You're at the point of no return. This is not the time to be thinking about downside, because any downside from here is going to be limited in time, and of course that goes for a diversified portfolio. Any company alone can go bankrupt or whatever, even though most are not even close to going bankrupt. But the point is that any additional downside from here in the juniors, on average, that's just gonna it's gonna be the boomerang effect. The main point is that they're gonna go higher. They're gonna go higher. So if it goes like this or like this or like this, that doesn't really matter. The important thing is that they will go up, and you can't say that a lot about a lot of sectors right now. You can't say that about the Nasdaq or Bitcoin or whatever. But the juniors have the most absurd price to value gap we could ever ask for. If you get one of these, if you're a part of one mean reversion like this, I mean, you could be set up for the next decade or whatever, as long as you can hold out. But of course, most people are out there kicking and screaming, crying, tempted to move to another sector. And I'm like, okay, show me another subsector or subsector which has a price to value gap like this. What it tells me is that you don't fully understand the situation here. This is a powder keg, and the mother of all mean reversions. That's gonna unfold. I don't know what will trigger it. I mean, again, it's like this thing here. This is basically setting up, for possible force majeures, let's say, for the LME. I mean, what would happen if the COMEX suddenly did something similar, or there was a shock that there's not supply to go around, there's some big entity wants physical, can't get it, there's a scramble for physical gold, and when this physical gold runs out, you actually if you desperately wants to get exposure to gold, or want to own gold, and you can't buy gold coins, for example, what do you think people are going to do? The other step would be to buy the ounces in the ground. So it's like, I think stuff like that is coming, and you're buying it for you're buying juniors future supply gold in the ground uh, at the cheapest levels that you've only seen in, a few times per last decade, let's say. This is the most absurd layup ever. This is this is gonna be biblical. I just don't know when, but this is gonna be biblical. I'm at, greed levels 11 out of 10. I'm gonna, try to join as many private placements as I can, especially with warrants, because again, if you get one of these mean reversions right, and you have even better if you have some warrants, because again, that's free risk-free upside, and there's never been a higher probability of a massive upside in the junior sector. So this is like the perfect crime. This is almost like legal stealing. Because you're stealing supply and future supply for almost nothing. Yeah, it's truly incredible, and I don't think, I don't think many really get how good of an opportunity this is. That this is such an anomaly. This should not even be possible. Not at a time where gold is doing what it is and the world looks like it is. But it's here. It's here. But most people will, as always, they will miss these opportunities. The most blatant opportunities are the ones that most miss. Otherwise, it wouldn't have produced a massive opportunity. So majority will not look at this and see a reason to buy. Because otherwise they would have been buying already. So think about that. The best opportunities ever must coincide with the most stupid market ever. And the most, believable charade ever. This is one for the ages. Yeah, that's basically it for the rant. Have patience. Don't blow yourself up. Diversify. I don't use leverage myself because I don't want to have a timing issue. Back here I bought in and then went down 50% before I went up 600%. If I would have leverage or whatever, I might have been blown out before I actually got the revaluation. So I don't play that game. I don't want to be right on timing. I just want to know that I'm gonna make money at some point in the future. Not investing advice. Quote. Thanks for listening. Bye.